I have in the past described myself as a fan of Dragon Ball Super. Um, or rather, Dragon Ball, the franchise. Super, I've had many grievances with since it started airing 2 years ago. And one of the most recurring problems I've had since we were able to finally get out of the movie retellings is an overwhelming tendency within the plot to focus entirely or for a large portion of its time on Goku. And the common argument is this is the main character. This is, who we've been with this entire time. And, that's a fair point to make. But the problem is it falls short in a couple of ways, and it kind of serves to be a detriment to others and just, I think, the story overall. So let me give an example. We're currently in the fifth major arc of this series called the Universe Survival Arc. Anyone who's a fan of this probably knows this already. And it starts off with Goku going about and recruiting various characters for his team for the Tournament of Power, which, if you lose, your universe gets destroyed. Now, one might say, okay, what's the problem with that? Well, a couple of weeks after this series of episodes finished airing, we were made privy to his new transformation. It was confirmed. We got images of it, pictures. We knew it was going to debut this arc. Now, during the initial string of episodes that composed of this arc, when there was the preliminary tournament, both Goku and Gohan were made privy to the fact that this tournament has very, very high stakes. Theoretically, at least from a narrative standpoint, I think it would have made more sense to have Gohan go about recruiting the various characters, and then have Goku train to acquire this form. That's another problem I have with the series. Characters just get new transformations back to back with no real effort being seen on the part of that individual. It's not just with his characters; it's with other ones as well. But it bothers me that they knew this transformation was coming, and I can guarantee you it's going to get sprung on us in the midst of him fighting Jiren or Hit or Kaba or whoever else they might position him to battle against during the penultimate or otherwise concluding episodes of this arc, which I have to say has been the best of the series. But I can be objective in that regard by saying this is good, this is bad. Now one might say, well, why do the other characters have to be focused on? Why do they have to be paid attention to? Well, a lot of Dragon Ball fans were brought more into this franchise by Z. And one of Z's common elements was to take Goku out of the plot. During the initial arc of the Saiyans arriving, he's gone for most of it after the first couple of episodes slash chapters where he helps in defeating Raditz, and then shows up for the final fight, or rather the actual battles. And that was him being gone for a good portion of it. You go to Frieza arc, same thing. He's gone or otherwise not involved with the fighting up until the Ginyu Force wrecks the group of heroes, and then after getting wrecked, during that, heals up and is gone for most of the Frieza fight until the latter gains his final form. People know this already. So you say, well, what do you bring this up for? If you look at Super and every single arc of that series right now, it has been non-stop, ever-present Goku. The closest we had to a classic, just, the good guy that can actually change things slash save the day, shows up at the last minute, has come from both of the two films where you had the, his absence during Beerus's reign of terror, and with Frieza when he was resurrected during Resurrection of F. Now, the other problem that this causes is that you have much of the same element. Super, it has a lot of Z in it, and one of those various factors is this idea that there are only about maybe 2-3 characters that we can really say, yeah, he might actually win. Goku always being one of them, of course, and the other ones kind of just hold out and get to do things. I think that was one of the main appeals to me of most of the arcs of Z. You see others trying to do things to beat the new villain, learning various techniques. being strategic. You know, one of my favorite fights is Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo all fighting Nappa, and just trying different strategies. Um, when you look at actual fights with Goku and any other character, it boils down to a just straight up punch, punch, kick, kick. Whoever is stronger wins type of conflict, and I think that really reduces the story when it's that way to begin with. Really, the only arc where him being ever present was kind of all right, at least in my opinion, out of this whole series right now. Technically, was the Universe 6 arc, even though the tournament rather, even though that bothered me because he got knocked out and they put him right back in. Um, which they would never do for any other character. That's, I think that's a classic example of plot armor, but nonetheless, and you might say, okay, well, they caught Frost cheating, but they, even if that's the case, they didn't do it for Piccolo when it was discovered that he was cheated as well. But again, that's my gripe with that. The other instance was during the Future Trunks arc where you had, everybody getting knocked out by Goku Black and Zamasu. So he didn't turn the tide there either. It was reminiscent of, we need to actually figure out what we're going to do to combat these villains. And it seems so often with this series and with Z and with GT, we have this thing where we can't. It's as if the writers and I guess Toriyama as well can't comprehend in their mind. You have this wide array of characters that can be used. And what gets me is that whenever I mention this to fans or individuals who are also interested in the series, it's as if I get this response that's almost twofold, where they'll admit that they like the ending to the Future Trunks arc where everything gets destroyed because it's different, but they like the idea of Goku beating every single bad guy or otherwise being the main one who beats every villain because it's the same as what they're used to. So how can the ending be all right with being different, but getting to that ending being, not okay? Changing that is not all right. Maybe the point I'm making is, how do you tell me that you're fine with consistency when it comes to how this ends, and then the epilogue is where you're all right with difference? I really don't understand the level of just I'm looking for the proper term for it. I can't comprehend where one would be all right with one change and then one thing staying the exact same. And it goes back to my problems with why this series just feels more like fan service the longer it goes on. Because they're not trying anything different. It feels as if Toriyama ran out of ideas following the Buu arc, and everything after was just to get money. How do I know everything after was just to get money? Well, you're repeating the same pattern/formula, and there's never a change. So I expect bad guy shows up, good guy wins, that's it. What I don't expect is bad guy who's better than the heroes in every single way shows up, Goku shows up, he beats him, he wins. That's literally every arc of this series currently. Even the tournaments. And Vegeta had such a good you could have completely alleviated my complaints with these arcs if you had Vegeta beat Frieza during that Resurrection F arc, and if you had Vegeta beat Hit during that tournament arc, which they were giving him a good string of fights and using his character very well, and just it ends entirely right there. And had Trunks, you had him defeat Zamasu, and I thought that was all right. So I'm bringing that up because there seems to be this fridge group that thinks if you critique this series in any way, you're a hater. You're wishing it gets canceled. I'm not wishing anything bad on it. I wouldn't be voicing my distaste or disdain for certain elements of this franchise and of this series, whether it be the overabundance of transformations, their seeming existence only there to go and push Goku up and push everybody down here, except maybe Vegeta. The various, using overuse of his character, I feel, in place of using others that we've been introduced to over the course of these last 3 different series. Technically 4 if you count GT, which I know everyone likes to pretend didn't exist. So really, when you and then this is my favorite part, you'll have some fans who will say, "Well, it's always been this way," and they'll go and argue, "Okay, well you can't get mad because it's doing what Z is doing." So if I rebuke, which first of all that's not true because as I mentioned earlier, Z would take Goku actively out of the plot. Now the original series to an extent did that, but you know what the original series didn't do? It didn't bring in a whole bunch of transformations for Goku to use to push everybody down. So that still falls flat. Really, if I go and were to compare this to any series, I would say this is a slightly more fan servicey version of GT, and fans will get angry about that. They'll lash out at you. They'll tell you you're losing your mind. But think about it. Super Saiyan God and its various other incarnations, 4 rather, and that form pushes Goku all the way up and keeps everybody else except for Vegeta down. It's not hard to really get the comparisons I'm making here. All the villains have the same thing where they're all better than the heroes in every single way. And then, I'm not trying to get too off topic, but think about this. Have a villain that is weaker than everybody else, but he's so fast nobody can even hit him. Or maybe have a villain that is stronger than everybody else, but he's so slow. He's like the Super Saiyan Ascended form from the Cell arc. Why not have a change? And that's what's so bothersome about this franchise. People are okay with the idea that every arc is going to be Goku gets stronger. Your other, various characters get 1 or 2 lines and they get an episode here or there, and that's it. And I don't think that's what people who like this franchise are so intermixed on, I just think they're appealing, they're trying to do this toe the line where they really just want to do things with Goku. But they know that fans and those who pay a serious amount of attention will have a problem with that. So they're going to make you think other characters are going to be utilized or used skillfully or in a manner that is cool. But then at that same time, when it actually comes time to use them to the potential that you think they have, they get sidelined. Look at this arc. They bring... Actually, no. Look at the Universe 6 arc. You get that big poster. It's Goku, Vegeta, Buu, Piccolo, and... what was it? Batamo? Not Batamo. The little guy. The other one that was on Universe 7's team that we haven't seen since. That shows you how important he was. Anyways, you get Piccolo and Buu on that poster, and their faces are all in the front like this, and you think, oh man, they're gonna have a big role. And what happens? Piccolo gets one fight that's all right, and then he gets cheated out of even winning, and Buu doesn't even get to fight because of a ridiculous reason. And then you go and you look at the Universe Survival arc and its poster, where you have Buu and Piccolo and all the other various fan favorite characters on there, and you get excited. And I remember sitting here and saying to myself, it's going to be Goku and Vegeta who get, the most shine. So, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be a battle royale. You're crazy, man. You know what you're talking about. Then you get to the actual episodes. It's Krillin getting knocked out within the first, 3? Then it's Buu not even getting a chance to get involved. And the sad thing is, even though that happened to Buu, Frieza has been one of the best parts of the Universe Survival arc. He's been written very consistently with what we knew of him from Z. So it's this twofold thing where I want to criticize that, but also say, hey, look, something good came out of it. But I can't say that about most elements of just having, this be the Goku show. When they start the Universe Survival term, what's the first thing that happens? A group of characters surround Goku. That actually kind of made sense, because he's being portrayed as the villain by these other universes for starting this tournament. But the other issue that you have to look at is, why, you think of Z and, what everyone loves about it, what everyone liked about it, or just its various elements. Why not have an episode where, I don't know, some other characters fight before that? And you might say to yourself, why are you trying to do it? Well, think about it. They have all these characters they're bringing in. We know nothing about most of them, or we, barely have any type of reason to care about them. Why not try to squeeze something in there? Before someone said, I can't see how they dragged out in the whole episode. Z had episodes of Goku and Frieza fighting where they just stood there and stared at each other. But again, that goes back to why I don't believe most of the defenses that I see for Super, because I've watched this as long as most of the people who are making those defenses, and I have my own idea of what a good story is, and they do as well. So that's just my piece on it. I think this series would be infinitely better if it got rid of several things, including those transformations, the same story of new villain who's better than everybody in every way shows up, Goku beats him, the end, which it did for one arc, but I want to see more of that. Also, his character just hogging the screen time of everybody, and I don't think that's needed either. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.